What's going on, y'all? Let's just jump straight into this. So, big move today. We had this big BART right here. Let me move some of this stuff. Big BART breakdown. What the heck's going on, right? This is probably confusing a lot of people. We are in a bear market. This is bear market 2022, 2018 style price action where you have larger participants that take advantage of the order books effectively. Who's off sides? Where's open interest at? And you can see if I move, I'll move me over here real quick. All of these moves are perp driven. I've been talking about this on my X account. It's absolutely critical you understand this from an intraday standpoint. Move up, perps, getting horny. Closing shorts, some people chasing. Spot not really going up, right? Just pretty much flat or even down. Same story each time it bounces. Okay. Why is that important? You do not have demand at this level. People do not want to buy spot aggressively at this level. The people who are buying spot aggressively are just pushing these perp positions out of place, in my opinion. Okay. Why is that important? Eventually, we're going to need to actually test demand. Okay. It's clearly not here, right? You don't have the aggressive spot buyers here. There's reasons for this, namely because I think people don't want to buy at this level, period. But also going into the back half of the month, people understand that you have tax loss harvesting. People will sell spot aggressively, most likely, because Bitcoin was a loser this year. It did not do very well. People lost money. They may have averaged a position above 100K. So they may sell to benefit from the tax loss rules. Okay. So important to understand this. This is very bearish price action. Eventually we need to actually hit levels of support that actually have a bid. That's not here. I think that's going to be closer to 80. You could see the 10% depth, meaning the bid and the offer, 10% away from the price, spikes there, the 5%, the 2.5%. This is important because it's at least showing you where there is some demand from a bid side. Because while I don't think we're going to get aggressive spot buyers for a while, you can at least offset this super aggressive spot selling, namely Binance, right? Just straight down, right? So we need to offset that, and you will start to see a bid. You can see it spikes up pretty aggressively once you get closer to around 85. So I expect naturally, it's just an auction process. We are going to find, or we're going to drift where the spot demand is, which I think is lower 80s. And I expect you probably see that going into the back half of the month. Does that mean that you won't spike up first? No, you can easily do it. They're trying. I mean, it looks like it almost wants to, right? It keeps somewhat putting in these, or actually putting in a higher low in a couple of different cases. Here, right? Maybe it does, but eventually it's going to go down there, in my opinion. And I think you have to understand on the higher time frame, if you are playing longs, you are probably playing a game of musical chairs. Even if that's just like, the scope of a few weeks, we're in a bear trend, we're in a bear market, and it's not really subjective at all. It's just objective. Here's the 200-day moving average, super far away from it, starting to curl down. You can see with the Bitcoin CME contract, you never even lost that the entire bull market. You held literally the entire bull market, little tiny deviations that were quickly recovered. Way below it, we're in a bear market. Okay, there's a ton of different ways to look at this to confirm you're in a bear market, but it's pretty obvious that we are in one. This is a trend change, and it will take time. It will take time to be able to recover to get back into a bull trend. Now, that doesn't mean that we can't have isolated bull trends, but these are typically what people call dead cat bounces. I wouldn't really even consider this much of a dead cat bounce. It's really just sort of chopping around. It didn't really go anywhere. I mean, it was actually a pretty good bounce from this point. Most people probably didn't jump on until mid-80s, so hasn't really been that great of a long for people. You can see you never broke the 20-day moving average. Sorry. I don't like to use that one. The exponential, I think, is better for 20 and under. You're not able to hold it. Like, it kind of gave you this, like, oh, look, 2 days of above. I think people thought that was a good long. and then it just breaks underneath it. So it's having a problem on this. This is typical of bear trends. We need to see that reverse before you can get excited at all about higher prices, right? So I showed you kind of the higher time frame. Obviously, I think there's no demand, and you can see it in the order flow where we are. Spot sellers are pretty aggressive. People are probably trying to get ahead of the tax loss harvesting. But what kind of actionable trades can we take in the short term? Well, if we do hold here going into the weekend, I do think there is a chance that we could play these prints here. As you can see, we've been creating these what they call single prints on the way up and on the way down, and we just keep filling them out. So it's high probability that if we hold here going into the weekend, you'll probably try to fill them out maybe on Sunday or even Saturday. But I think that's at least a decent try or decent attempt, considering it's at a pretty high hit rate. So if we're holding here going into the end of the session, I will consider longing, not sizing up, but just enough to play that bounce and fill out these prints. Where for Bitcoin, that would be like roughly 91.3K. But remember, on the higher time frame, this looks like it wants lower. So I think longs are musical chairs for the time being. Okay, I'm going to keep these videos short, like I said last time. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share with some friends. We'll see you next time.